Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. And if you caught me last time, I was recently doing stuff on the road. That last video I shot was while I was on the road, driving through Texas and New Mexico to visit some relatives. And while I was before I left Hobbs, New Mexico, we found a little place. It was called Nam's Antiques and Collectibles in Hobbs, New Mexico. It's a little place that's out of the way. I mean, you couldn't see it until you were practically parked in front of it. Which is not a comic shop. They don't seem to have any comic shops there. But it is an antique and collectible mall type situation, kind of like the Brass Armadillo, but about 1/10 the size. It's still a good sized shop, just that the Brass Armadillo is so huge. And it had all kinds of nice stuff, and had a couple of slots where they were selling some comics, and I found a few at pretty reasonable prices, and I thought I'd share them with you, and we'll probably be seeing some, if not all of these again, when I do a review of the individual comics. So I'll share some of these with you. As you can see, the ones in front here aren't comics. They're paperbacks, novels, and a couple of westerns. And this is from a series I'm completely ignorant of. It's the second one, Sierra Massacre, a nice and pulpy western adventure from the early 70s. And this one here is Hour of the Gun from 1967, based on the movie of the same title, which starred Jason Robards and James Garner. I had suddenly forgot his name, even though I had it in my head. And as they starred as Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp, and this takes place after the gunfight at the OK Corral. And I love that movie. And the thing is, this was originally intended to be a direct sequel to the film Gunfight at the OK Corral, which starred Kirk Douglas and Burt Lancaster. And this was originally intended for that. For whatever reason, there was years of delay. They couldn't get the original actors back together again for the project, so they made some slight changes and got recast it. And it's a great movie, but it is basically a sequel to Gunfight at OK Corral, because so much of that story happened after the gunfight at OK Corral. And it's really good. So here we're at the comics. This is the official Roy Crane's Bud Sawyer #2. This is from Pioneer. They were publishing in comic book form, reprinting a lot of some of the old adventure comic strips from the 30s and 40s and such. And I'm not terribly familiar with Buzz Sawyer. I know it was sort of popular back then. And one of the earliest adventure strips. And I have read a little bit, but I don't remember anything about it. So I'll have to do research, and I'll read this, because I'm looking forward to that, because I love the old adventure comic strips. And here we have something you just don't see anymore: Atari Force from DC Comics. This is 1984. And this has got some great artwork on the cover and in interior. I took a look at it by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, and it's written by Jerry Conway. And it looks like I remember I had an issue or two back then. I never got into it, but people don't even know what Atari is anymore, because it was at the time it was the biggest video game system. And this is loosely based on some of the video game stuff that they had. And I don't know how much, because not being into video games, I never played them. So, but we'll see it, because it's some great artwork and looks like an adventure. But from what little bit I saw, it seems to be really jumping around. So. And here's one that I'm completely ignorant of. It's from Pyramid Comics. I've got some other stuff from another subsidiary of Pyramid, and they are on just some really cool, very small publishing company that did not last very long, and they're almost entirely basically. Fan-made comics. Most of the art and stories are like right on the cusp of being professional, and this looks like this art. I don't know. I can't read the signature of the artist, but just looks to me like it was largely inspired by some very early John Byrne and or Joe Staton. But I don't know. And here we are. I had that other time I had was a Khazar, Lord of the Hidden Jungle. This is in Astonishing Tales, number 15. It said, they stalk the concrete jungle. And again, these are the older ones that I seem to find, because I think the other collectors aren't really as like me, not quite as thrilled with the stories of the jungle people in the city, and that's just about all I ever find of the older ones. And I had and may still have another copy of this. But who could pass it up for next to nothing with this great Gil Kane cover? And I am not sure who is even the interior artist is. The stuff that I want to find is the earlier stuff that was a few issues that were drawn by. I'm really batting 1,000 on remembering names this morning. Barry Wintersmith, because I liked. That's when his work was when I was first introduced to the character. Here we have Night Mask. This is a title I had completely forgotten, part of Marvel's new universe. And I remember having 1 or 2 issues of this before, so I'll read that and we'll cover this in some time, because I've been, when I get a chance, I've been doing some of the new universe stuff, just because they are so rare. And I've got one trade paperback that is a compilation of one of the other titles that I'm not as familiar with either. Which should be fun. There's some nice artwork. It says Plunkett and Weiss 86 on the artwork on the cover. Here we have Battle of the Planets. Oh, great Alex Ross cover from Top Cow. And I guess at this time, Alex Ross was actually the art director. He did the covers, but he's the art director for Top Cow. And I was surprised. I didn't know he had done that. And I just took a look through it as some nice original artwork. I remember Battle of the Planets. I used to watch that on TV 40 years ago. It was a popular Battle of the Planets, and another one that was a companion series to it, and I can't remember the title of that one. Were both real popular in the Navy barracks when I was going to my Navy schools. And I used to watch it then, and I think it was Gold Key had published a few issues, and I had gotten 1 or 2 issues of that at the time. I think it was Gold Key. I could be mistaken, but I haven't had any of this run, and I like that cover. And I kind of wish I had gotten some more of them, because just looking through it, and the characters aren't even in costume anywhere in this issue that I saw, which is kind of disappointing. And here we have Sword and Sorcery, the Stalker, Darkling Death at World's End Sea, and I don't remember who the writer is on this one. It doesn't say on the cover, but this is what's kind of. At the time, I was not terribly thrilled. I picked up a couple issues, and there were only 4 or 5 issues that came out, if even that, of this title. This was just before the implosion, and came out about the same time as the first Warlord books did too, and they were quickly canceled. This was quickly canceled, but one of the big lures to it is that it's Steve Ditko art, pencils with Wally Wood inks. But so 2 old-time great artists working together, and this is at a time when Ditko's work was not as good as it could or should have been, depending on the project. And in my opinion, anyway, and so it's fantasy with strong supernatural elements. So it's like a little bit of a blend of Conan the Barbarian with some Doctor Strange type stuff in there. So that should be really nice with that Ditko art, and then the Wally Wood inks should help make Ditko's pencils look just a little bit more pleasing. And then here we have from Blackthorn Publishing, #1, and I think it was a one-shot, which is Freak Out on Infant Earths, which is basically, Blackthorn Publishing, they did a lot of that stuff that was parody, and this is parodying Crisis on Infinite Earths. From DC, and just a glance through it, and the artwork is very fan quality, with just some work, and I don't know the artist. Maybe he later did become professional, because it was a lot of it is right on the cusp. So it would the style looks better for some underground work. But it is parodying the mainstream comics. And here, this is another one that's not a comic. This was a nice treasure. Didn't cost that much. This dime Western magazine, and for 10 cents, it is from 1932, a Western pulp magazine. I have a few of those, but I think this is the oldest one I've got, and it's probably the one that's in the best condition, because I have a small handful of pulp magazines, and I'll go through them sometime. So this great cover illustration, and has some nice interior black and white illustrations as well. Has one thing that's kind of nice about this is that it doesn't have stories that are serialized. It's the Death Maverick Complete Below the Border novel by Walt Coburn, and stuff by Harry F. Olmsted, Ray Nafziger, Bart Cassidy, Robert E. Mahaffey, and John Callahan. All good, strong names, and most of them are probably pseudonyms. But I'm anxious to take a look at this. But one thing I said is this is from 1932. So that means this magazine is over 90 years old. So it's older than any of the comics that I've got, and I think it's older than any of the other pulp magazines I've got. I'd have to take a look. And it's probably in the best condition of anything that's not a reprint. And that is a fun haul from NAM's Antiques and Collectibles. And I hope you enjoyed seeing that stuff. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Which one of these did you like the best? And what have you seen and what have you never seen before? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, people, comics and even the pulps are art.